application got completed. Correspondence module is responsible to send notices to the citizens in the form of a PDF. So citizen is approved or citizen is denied. Whether for approved citizens as well as for denied citizens also, this correspondence API is going to send notification. Got it? Next one. For administration purpose, we need to monitor the data which is generated by our application, like how many plans people applied, how many people applied for a plan, how many plans are approved, how many plans are denied. That data we can analyze by using reports API. In the reports API, we have implemented dynamic search functionality. We have implemented dynamic search functionality in the reports API, and we have implemented Excel report generation logic as well as PDF generation logic in the reports API. Okay, so this is the project that we have implemented by using microservices architecture. Okay, I'm going to give you the overview of this project, guys. Once again, observe. So we have developed a project with a name called IHIS. So the name of the project is IHIS. Client for this project is New Jersey State Government. The client of this project is New Jersey State Government. New Jersey State Government. Okay. Now, the main purpose of this project to provide health and insurance plans for New Jersey State citizens based on some conditions. New Jersey State providing below plans. New Jersey State providing below plans. What are those? SNAP, CCAP, Medicaid, Medicare, some QHP, and some New Jersey works. It is intranet project, only case workers can access. It is intranet project, only case workers can access this application in DHS offices. Only case workers can access this application in the DHS offices. The client of this project is the New Jersey State Government, and the main purpose of this project is to provide health and insurance plans for New Jersey State citizens based on some conditions. New Jersey State providing below health plans and insurance plans for the citizens based on some conditions. It is intranet project, so only case workers can access this application in the DHS offices. We have below modules in the application. IHIS modules. What are the modules we have seen in our application? In our application, we have admin module. In the admin module, he will manage the plans management, plus case worker accounts management will be handled in the admin module. Then AR module is available, citizen application creation. Citizen app creation will be done by using AR module. DC module is available, citizen data collection. Citizen data collection will done by using DC module. ED module is available, citizen plan eligibility determination. Citizen plan eligibility determination we are going to implement by using ED module. CO module, sending notices sending to the citizen. Citizen notice generation plus sending. Citizen eligibility notice generation. Okay. Then we have reports module, analyzing the application data. Analyze application data and export to Excel and PDF reports. So these are the 7 modules that we have seen as of now. Okay, right. So admin module will deal with plans as well as case worker accounts which are required for our application. Admin will create a plan which is supported by our government. Admin will create a plan for the caseworker. AR module, AR stands for application registration module. When a citizen app creation with SSN verification. With SSN verification. This AR module is going to communicate with the SSA web API and it is going to verify the citizen is belongs to New Jersey state or not. If the citizen is belongs to New Jersey state, then application creation will happen. Otherwise, the application creation will not happen. Citizen app creation with SSN verification. DC, citizen data collection. If citizen want to apply for a plan, we need to collect some data from the citizen. That data collection we are going to do by using DC module. ED module. Once the data collection is completed, then we need to determine the citizen eligibility, whether the citizen is approved for the plan or denied for the plan. So to approve the citizen, there are some conditions. To deny the citizen also, there are some conditions. If citizen data matching with those conditions, then he will be approved. Otherwise, he will be denied. Okay. Next one is a CO. CO nothing but correspondence. CO nothing but correspondence. Okay. Reports analyzation that we are going to do. Guys, read these points. So in the resume also you are going to keep these details. So tomorrow when they ask you about your project, then you need to mention these points in the resume. When they ask you to explain the project architecture, you need to explain the same details. What is the name of your project? Who is the client of your project? What is the main purpose of your project? What is the main purpose of your project? And what are the plans which are supporting by your project? What are the main plans we are supporting for your project? Then the next one is what are the modules available and what is the purpose of each module, and they will ask you, you worked on which module. You will say that I worked on all these modules because there are 7 modules we have taken. You can say that you worked on all these modules. Name of the project: IHIS, Insurance System, Integrated Health Insurance System. IHIS stands for Integrated Health Insurance System. Integrated Health Insurance System. This is developed for state government. New Jersey state government is our client. The main purpose of this is to provide the health and insurance plans for New Jersey state citizens based on some conditions. New Jersey state providing below plans: SNAP plan, CCAP plan, Medicaid, Medicare, QHP, New Jersey works. It is intranet project, so only case workers can access this application in the DHS offices. So citizens who want to apply for the plan should visit the nearest DHS office. Citizens should visit nearest DHS office to apply for a plan. Citizens should visit nearest DHS office to apply for a plan. Okay. IHIS modules are available: admin module, AR module, DCCD, EO. Admin will deal with the plans and the case workers accounts creations and all. Okay. AR module, it is just a application creation. When we give the citizen data, case worker will fill the data for the citizen. Then that citizen SSN number will be verified with the SSA web API. SSA web API is a third party API. If citizen SSN is belongs to New Jersey state, then application registration will be completed. Otherwise, application registration will not be completed. The next one is the data collection module. Once the citizen application is created, that means citizen can apply for the plan. In order to apply for the plan, citizen data we are going to collect. The next one is ED, that is the eligibility determination. Citizen eligibility determination we are going to do here. Next one is the CO, citizen eligibility notice generation we need to do, correspondence notice generation. Whether the citizen is approved or denied, a notice we are generating, we are going to send the notice to the citizen. And reports is available. Application data we are exporting into Excel format and we are exporting into PDF format, and we are implementing dynamic search operation. So I want to search the data which is eligibility data. So whenever eligibility determination got completed, that data is inserted into eligibility details table, and we are going to search for that data by using dynamic search operation that we implemented in the third mini project. Okay, yeah guys, so today I will send you a resume also. For this I think I have changed laptop guys. In my old laptop I have that resume. I will share that resume where I have mentioned this IHIS project. You can use my sample resume and prepare your resume to upload in the job portals. All good. Good, fine guys. Now so here we have done the major project implementation. We have done major project implementation completed, backend part. Now Angular classes I have conducted, Angular 13 classes completed. We have done the UI implementation for 01 mini project, 01 mini project and 03 mini project. UI also completed. Okay, fine. We have done the Angular integration part, how to develop the front end part, how to integrate the front end with the back end. Those things we have completed already. Now guys, next one, in the interview they will ask you one common question. So that is first question that they are going to ask you, where you have used collections in your project. Where you have used collections in your project. And the second question they are going to ask you, where you have used multi-threading in your project. So these are common interview questions or not. Where you have used collections in your project and where you have used multi-threading in your project. These are common questions or not. Come on guys, these are the common questions in the interview or not. Where you have used collections in your project. Where you have used multi-threading in your project. Now, can anyone tell me where we have used collections in our project? Agam Krishna, can you tell me where we have used collections in our project? Did I use collections in the project or I have not used collections in the project? Sai Baba, Rakesh Shoni, Sanjala, Agam Krishna. Can you guys tell me? Yeah, good morning guys. Where we have used collections in our project?
The hash map we have used.
Hash map we have used. Map
Then
also.
array list.
Array list we have used. Map we have used. So can we say that to deal with the country, state, city drop down? Can we say that? To deal with the country, state, city drop down, we have used map concept. Okay. To represent list of records, we have used array list. Dynamic search in reports. So we used a list concept as well as we used a map concept. So what is the difference between the list and map? What is the difference between the list and map, guys?
Map is basically a key value.
Yes, right. Map we are using to represent the data in the form of key value. Why we used map for the country data? Why we used the map for country data? We are using map for country data because when I select a country name, based on that I need to get the state name. So I need the country ID to retrieve the state data, and country name should display in the drop down for selection. So as I need the data in the key value format, I have used a map concept. And whenever we search for the eligibility records in the reports module, my search results may be one record, maybe more than one record. As I want to represent more than one record, I'm using a list here to represent group of objects. So in those two scenarios, we can say that I have used map. Next one, they were going to ask you another question where you have used multi-threading in your project. It is very common scenario. We can say that in CO module, we have implemented multi-threading to generate notices quickly. In CO module, we have implemented multi-threading to generate notices quickly. Now guys, see what we are doing in the correspondence module. Can anyone tell me what is the functionality of the correspondence module and what we are doing in the correspondence module? Can anyone tell me what is the functionality of the correspondence module? What we are doing in the correspondence module?
To generate the PDFs and then email it to the respective citizens and then store it.
Right. So here in the correspondence module, we are getting get, retrieve or get all pending triggers to generate notice. Yes or no? So the get all pending triggers to generate the notices. Okay. So this is the logic. So we need to do. Now what I am doing here, I am calling some method service.getPending triggers. Service.getPending triggers. Now it is going to give me list of CO triggers. I got the triggers list. Once I got the triggers list, now what I am going to do? I am going to iterate each trigger and do the process. So for that what I am doing, for each loop or for loop I can write CO trigger, list of CO trigger. Now I am getting a CO trigger object. So this is my trigger. Now triggers I got from the database which are pending. Pending records may be 100, maybe 1000, maybe 1 lakh also. Once I got the CO trigger, then what I am doing here, service dot get eligibility data based on the trigger case number. So every trigger is having a case number. Based on the case number, I'm getting eligibility data. That is my ED data. I'm getting my ED data, eligibility data. I got the eligibility data, ED. Okay. Based on this eligibility data, what is the next step we are doing? Based on the eligibility data, what is the next step we are doing? Generate PDF. Generate PDF. Store PDF. Send PDF. Update trigger as completed. Update the trigger as completed. Are we doing all this logic or not? Yes or no? Get all pending triggers to generate the notices. So understand here what is the logic we have implemented in the correspondence module. Get all the pending triggers to generate the notice. You are getting a list of pending triggers. So today you may get 100 records. Tomorrow you may get 1,000 records. Day after tomorrow you may get 10,000 records. So whenever you are getting these many records, okay, now you need to iterate that collection. Once you iterate the collection, we are getting eligibility data. Based on the eligibility data, we are generating a notice and we are storing a notice into the databases table, and we are sending the notice to the citizen email. Once this notice is sent to the citizen email, then we are going to update the trigger status as a completed. Update the trigger status as a completed. This is the logic we have implemented in the CO API. Can I say that this is the logic implemented in the CO API? We have done the coding also for that in the live class. We have tested our logic is working as expected. Guys, now observe. Can you see any problem with this approach? Can you see any problem with this approach?
Slow, I think. Fetching one report at a time.
Yes. Yeah. Any other problem that you guys can see here in this implementation? Code is working perfect. The code is correct. The implementation is correct. Business requirement is also satisfied. We are able to test it. Functionality is also working as expected. But there is some challenging thing or there is some problem. There is some challenging thing and there is some problem with this implementation. So can anyone check this and let me know what is the problem with this? Can anyone check this and let me know what is the problem with this? Can anyone check this and what is the problem?
I think if one functionality doesn't work, then rest of the functionality doesn't work. And it is happening in a sequence, like one after the other.
Exactly. That is the problem. That is the problem. In this logic, we are processing the triggers one by one, one by one. In this logic, in this implementation, our pending triggers will process. Our pending triggers will process one after other. One after other. Sequential, linear process. Sequential. Code is executing sequentially. Code is executing sequentially. Code is executing sequentially. Example. Let's assume that one trigger is taking 1 second to process. Let's assume that one trigger is taking 1 second to process. That means for every trigger we need to get the eligibility data. That means we need to make a database call. For every trigger we need to get the eligibility data. We need to make a database call. And for every trigger we need to make a database call. Then we need to get the citizen eligibility data. We need to generate a PDF for that. And we need to store the PDF into database. We need to send the PDF to the citizen email, and we need to update the trigger status as a completed. So several database calls we are doing here to complete one trigger processing. Guys, this all logic we can consider as a trigger processing logic. Can I say all this logic is a trigger processing logic? All this logic, can I call it as a trigger processing logic? How many times this processing logic will execute, Mr. Krishna? How many times this processing logic will execute in our project? How many times this processing logic is going to execute? Yeah. How many times this red color circled logic is going to execute? 4 times. 4 times, huh? How many times it is going to execute?
It depends on the list size, how many pending triggers are listed.
So here we are getting the pending triggers from the database table, right? If I get 1000 pending triggers from the database, then this for each loop is going to execute for 1000 times. It depends upon the size of the triggers we got from the table. If there are 1 lakh pending triggers in the table, then what will happen? The loop is going to execute for 1 lakh times. Am I correct? Now, so here in the CO module, we have written the logic to retrieve all the pending triggers from the database table. In the CO module, we have written the logic to get all the pending triggers from the CO table. Once we got the pending triggers from the CO table, we are writing a for each loop to execute each pending trigger. What is the meaning of executing each pending trigger is, every trigger belongs to one citizen. We need to find out what is the citizen eligibility. We need to generate the PDF for that citizen. We need to store the PDF into database table, and we need to send the PDF to the citizen, and we need to update the citizen trigger as a completed. We need to update the trigger status as a completed. Okay. Once we do this, now all the triggers will be completed. But guys, here, are we executing the triggers parallelly? Are we processing the triggers parallelly? Are we processing the triggers sequentially here? Are we processing the triggers parallelly? Or we are processing the triggers sequentially? We are processing the triggers sequentially. Can I say that first trigger will complete? After first trigger completed, then second trigger will complete. After second trigger, then third trigger will complete. After the third trigger, fourth trigger will complete. Then after fifth trigger will completed. Then after sixth trigger will complete. Then after seventh trigger will be completed. Is it going to execute sequentially here? Come on, guys. Is it going to execute sequentially here? Yes. The triggers are going to process sequentially. That means the triggers are processing one after other. For example, let's assume that in order to execute this for each loop, it is going to take 1 second of time. Why it is taking 1 second of time? It is interacting with the database tables to retrieve the data. It is generating a PDF. It is storing the PDF. It is sending a PDF to the citizen email, and it is updating the trigger as a completed trigger. So it is going to take 1 second of time to process the trigger. Let's assume that one trigger is taking 1 second time to process. If one trigger is taking 1 second time to process, within 1 minute, how many triggers our program can process? How many triggers our program can process within a minute of time? 60 triggers we can process per minute. Whatever the code I have implemented, that code is processing one trigger for 1 second. That is the performance of my program. If my code is processing 1 second, if my code is processing one trigger for 1 second, within 1 minute my code can process 60 triggers. If my code is processing 60 triggers within a minute, Then what about 1 hour? Then what about 1 hour? How many triggers we can process for 1 hour?
360.
360 or 3060?
3060.
Now 1 hour means 60 minutes now. 60
Yes,
multiplied by 60. 60 multiplied by 60 nothing but 3600 triggers I can process for 1 hour. Are you guys able to understand this? How many triggers our program can process within 1 hour? Within 1 hour, my triggers within 1 hour, my program can process only 3600 triggers. So performance is good or performance is not good? Performance is not good. Why the performance is not good? Processing is late. It is taking more time to process our triggers. It is taking more time to process our triggers. Now, if your program is taking 1 hour of time to process 3600 triggers, then the performance is bad. The performance is not good. Okay. So now, daily client want to complete all the pending triggers within 1 hour or within 2 hours of time. Client will execute the CO API daily for 2 hours of time. Morning 9 to 5 office will be available. Then morning 9 to 5 office will be available. Evening 7 to 9 is the time given by the client to execute our batch. To execute our program, client fixed the timing. We have to send the notices to the citizens daily from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Client requirement. Client requirement. Client requirement. Send notices. Send notices daily. Send notices daily 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. In that time zone only, we need to send the notices to the citizens. How much time client is given for us to send the notices? From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. How many hours of time we have to send the notices to the citizens? 2 hours. So if I go for 2 hours of time, how many triggers my batch, how many triggers I can process within 2 hours of time? 3600 plus 3600. 7200 triggers only we can process in a day. Day means we are not going to consider 24 hours, guys, because in our project 9 to 5 our project is going to execute. Client requirement is only 2 hours to send the notices. So can we decide the requirement or client is going to decide the requirement? Are we going to decide the requirement or client is going to decide the requirement? Client is going to decide the requirement. How much time the client has given? How much time client has given?
Hours.
How much time client has given?
2 hours.
2 hours of time. So within the 2 hours of time, how many triggers I can process? Only 72,000, 7,200 triggers I can process per day. 7,200 triggers I can process per day by using my correspondence batch. Guys, let's assume that 01 Jan 22, 10,000 citizens applied for plan. 01 Jan 2022, 10,000 citizens applied for plans in DHS offices. Multiple offices available across the state. So many cities are available. In every city, DHS office is available. Citizens visited the nearest DHS office. 10,000 citizens applied for the plans in the DHS office. Okay. So on the 1st January, 10,000 people applied for the plans. How many triggers? How many notices we sent on the day? How many notices can be sent? 7,200 notices sent. Then what about the pending? What about the remaining? Can I say 2,800 still pending? Can I say 2,800 still pending? Now, so on the 1st January, how many citizens applied for the plans in our project? 10,000 citizens applied for the plans in the DHS office. So what is the requirement? The people now, the client given requirement is the people applying for the plan is the
someone
DHS
will
office
down.
open time. Morning 9 to 5, citizens can come to our office and citizen can apply for the plan. 9 to 5, citizen can come to the DHS office and can apply for the plan. Okay, so once the 5 o'clock office is closed, evening 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., we need to send the notices for the people who applied for the plans today. Today morning 9 to 5, so many people applied for the plan. Evening 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the requirement given by the client. Daily, today morning 9 to 5, so many people applied for the plan. For all those people, we have to send the notices in the time zone 9 p.m. to 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. 2 hours of time client has given to guys. I'm telling you the real requirement I have faced. So client told us that daily we need to send the notices to the citizens who applied for the plans. Notices should be sent to the citizens in the time frame 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. UST time zone. Okay. Now, so first on January 1st, how many people applied? 10,000 people applied for the plans in the DHS office. How many notices our program can generate in 2 hours of time? How many notices our program can generate in 2 hours of time? Someone please respond to my question.
7,200 notices.
Now, for all the 10,000 people, is our project sending the notices?
No.
No. Why? Our program performance is not up to the mark. Am I correct? Our program performance is not up to the mark. 10,000 people applied for the plans in the DHS office. 2 hours of time client has given. That day 10,000 people applied. My program is generating only 7,200 notices and sent to the citizens. 2,800 still pending. Then that's fine. Now let us take about the second day. 0 to Jan 22. Here 20,000 people applied. 20,000 citizens applied for plans in DHS offices. How many notices this can generate on the second day? How many notices it can send on the second day? How many notices it can send on the second day?
7,200.
Again, same 7,200. How many notices are still pending?
2,800 plus 2,800.
12,800 second day notices and first day 2,800 notices also pending. Can I say these are pending?
So how come 12,800 are pending?
20,000, right?
20,000.
Second day 20,000 people applied for the plan. So out of 20,000, how many notices we sent? Only 7,200. How many notices are pending?
Right.
12,800. From the first day already 2,800, 28 is pending. So here 12,800 plus 2,800, you calculate that sum. So these many notices are pending. So 12,000 plus 2,000, 14,000, 14,000 plus 800, 14,800 plus 800, 15,600. So total how many notices are pending? 15,600 notices are still pending. 15,600 notices are still pending. Now let us take a third day scenario. Assume that third day 30,000 people applied for the plans in the New Jersey state. 30,000 citizens applied for plans. 30,000 citizens applied for the plans in the DHS offices. How many notices we are sending in the third day? 7,200 notices only sent in the third day. Okay, how many notices will be pending now? 20,000, 22,800 plus 15,600. 22,800 because 30,000 citizens applied for the plan. Out of the 30,000 citizens, we are sending the notices for only 7,200. So from the 30,000, if you minus 7,200, 22,800 is still pending. And the first day, second day notices already 15,000 notices are pending. 22 plus 10, 32, 32 plus 5, 37, 37, 800 and 38,400 notices are pending. 38,400 notices are pending. Now, if your project is executing like this, will client keep quiet? Guys, if your CO API is executing like this, will your client keep quiet? First of all, citizens will keep quiet. Will citizens keep quiet if they are not receiving the notices? Citizens will keep quiet if the notices are not receiving. Citizens will make a noise or not. Citizens will fire on the government or not. Same problem is happened for me in the real time. This is one of the complex situation I have faced in my career. I have implemented this CO API in the IHIS project in the real time in the Deloitte company. So initially, we have not expected this much traffic, guys. Initially, we have not expected this much traffic. We have implemented our batch. How exactly we implemented that CO? In the same way, I have implemented the CO batch. Once we have deployed this application in the production, then the movie started. First day itself, 10,000 people applied for the plan. Our batch completed only 7,200. 2,800 triggers are still pending. Second day, 20,000 people applied for the plan. 7,200 only we have sent. So second day, total 15,000 records are still pending. Third day, 30,000 citizens applied. Then third day, total 38,400 records are pending. Now guys, if your program is executing like this, then what is the problem? If your program is executing like this, then what is the problem?
Severe backlogs.
So many backlogs. Can you imagine the count of pending triggers after 1 month? If the same process continues for 1 month, how many records will be in the backlog? Many records will be available in the backlog. So, will it impact the client business or it will not impact the client business? Guys, if our project is executing like this, will it impact our client business or it will not impact our client business? It will impact very badly. It will impact very badly. It will give negative review for the government. Public people will scold the government people. Public people will fire on the government. Public people will do the negative publicity on the government. Because it is a government project, citizens are not receiving the notices. Citizen applied for the eligibility, but citizen did not receive the notice. They will wait for 1 day, they will wait for 2 days, but they will not wait for 1 month, right? They will wait for 1 month. They will wait for 1 day. They will wait for 2 days. They will wait for 1 week, but they will not wait for 1 month of time. So, if you go with this implementation, then that will impact our citizen business. Now, can we improve the performance of our batch now? Can we improve the performance of our batch now? Guys, can we improve the performance of our batch now? Come on.
Yes, sir.
How can we improve the performance of our batch now? Currently, how many threads are executing this for each loop?
1 thread.
Currently, how many threads are executing our for each loop? Currently, 1 thread is executing. So what is happening here is, I am getting all the pending triggers from the database table and I am writing a for each loop. So 1 thread is available here. That the thread is taking the 1 trigger and it is processing 1 trigger. Once the 1 trigger is completed, 1 second of time, then it will go and take the second pending trigger. It will process another 1 second. After that, it will go and take the third trigger and it will process another 1 second. After the third trigger, it will take the fourth trigger. It will process another 1 second. After fourth trigger completed, it will take fifth trigger. It will process another 1 second. After fifth trigger completed, it will take the sixth trigger. It will process another 1 second. So here, triggers are processing parallelly, triggers are processing sequentially. Guys, respond to my question. So triggers are processing parallelly, triggers are processing sequentially, one after other. Here, is there any relation between one trigger with another trigger? All the triggers are independent. All the triggers are independent because one trigger belongs to one citizen. Every trigger is a independent trigger here. When the triggers are independent, do you really need to wait for 1 second to start the second trigger? Can we process multiple triggers parallelly? Can we process multiple triggers parallelly? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can we process multiple triggers parallelly? Yes, we can process multiple triggers parallelly. Now guys, see here, assume that these are my triggers. I am getting the triggers from the database. Assume that these are the triggers we are getting from the database. These are our pending triggers. Pending triggers may be multiple. It may be 100, it may be 200, it may be 300, it may be 400, it may be 10,000, it may be 1 lakh also. Now, here, if I am taking one thread, okay, if I am taking one thread, now one thread is going to process all the triggers. One thread is going to process all the triggers. Now, one thread will process all the triggers one by one, one by one. One thread processing all triggers one by one. One by one, we can say one after another. One after another. What is this? Sequential. Every trigger taking 1 second. Every trigger taking 1 second to complete. Every trigger is taking 1 second. Every trigger is taking 1 second of time to complete. This is the process. So here we are getting bad performance. We are getting bad performance with this implementation. Per hour we are processing only 3000. Per hour we are processing only 3600 triggers. 1 hour it is processing only 3600 triggers. If I go with this approach, within 1 hour I can process only 3600 triggers. Instead of this, what can we do is, now assume that here there are pending triggers are available. Here there are pending triggers are available. It can be multiple. Multiple pending triggers are available. Multiple pending triggers are available. Instead of taking one thread to process this trigger, can I create 10 threads here? Can I take 10 threads and can I ask 10 threads to process these triggers, guys? Can I take 10 threads and can I ask the 10 threads to process? 10 threads are going to process pending triggers parallelly. 10 threads will process pending triggers parallelly. 10 threads will process pending triggers parallelly. So now, for 1 second, how many triggers will process now? For 1 second, how many triggers will process in this scenario? I'm running 10 threads. Every thread will process one trigger. Every thread will process one trigger. 10 threads will process pending triggers parallelly. Every thread will process one trigger. One thread will process one trigger. Okay. Now 10 threads are processing triggers. So how many triggers will process for 1 second now? Can I say 1 second is nothing but 10 triggers? 1 second nothing but 10 triggers. 1 minute means 60 seconds into 10. So how many triggers we can process within a minute? 600 triggers we can process within a minute. If I take 1 hour, 600 into 60. 600 into 60. How many triggers I can process within 1 hour? Can I process 36,000 for 1 hour? If I go with 2 hours of time, 36k plus 36k. How many triggers we can process for 2 hours of time? 72,000 triggers we can process. Here, if you go with one thread, how many triggers you can process for 1 hour? process 36,000 triggers we can process if you go for multi-threading. Performance of the program is improved with the multi-threading. Performance of the program is not improved with the multi-threading. Guys, performance of the program is improved with the multi-threading. Performance of the program is not improved with multi-threading.
Yes, sir.
Performance of the program is improved with the multi-threading. Performance of the program is not improved with the multi-threading. Improved with the multi-threading. Guys, analyze. If I run my program with one thread, how many triggers it is processing for 1 hour? If I run my program with the 10 threads, how many triggers it is processing for 1 hour? So in the interview, when they ask you where you have implemented multi-threading in the project, can you say correspondence API as an example? Can you say correspondence API as an example to say where you have implemented multi-threading in the project? We will write the code, guys. Practically, I will implement the multi-threading. First, you understand the concept. What is the problem if I run this API with one thread? What is the advantage if I run this API with the multiple threads? If I run with one thread, how many triggers it is processing for 1 hour? If I run with 10 threads, how many triggers it is processing for 1 hour? If you understand this difference, then we will write the code to run 10 threads to run our API so that it can process the triggers quickly. Guys, observe this diagram. Observe this diagram, you will get the clarity.